Hey, what's up, YouTube family? Happy Monday. It's Christopher Columbus Day. And you know what? I just thought about it. I'm going to bring some content in regards to Christopher Columbus today. Since it is Christopher Columbus Day, I just thought about that. Just popped in my head. But today's video is going to be like a continuation of yesterday. Yesterday's video, towards the end of the content, you were crossing over into who were the Cushites. So today we're going to talk about the Kushites. And no, we're not talking about that type of Kush. So I'm going to put that in the title so you guys really understand that this is a tribe of people, not what you roll up and smoke, okay? So you guys will really enjoy this information. It's pretty good. It's not going to be long. It's going to be just enough time. This video is probably going to be like 7 or 8 minutes, if that. Probably won't be that long. So hope you guys are having a great start to your day. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the Cushites. Who were the Cushites? Before the era of racial classification by means of physical measurements, European historians classified people based on the assumed territories of biblical populations. Interesting. So back in the day, before, it was black, white, brown, whatever, people were known by their tribes. People were known by their bloodlines, and people were known by, like this book has just said, their biblical territories, or territories based on biblical populations. Following the mythical flood that eliminated the original people of the planet, the descendants of Noah are assumed to have fathered everyone living in the Near East. Noah's son, Ham, represented black people. Now, let's go ahead and stop there. We know and understand that black people are not Hamites. Indeed, they are Shemites. Black are Africans, and black people are two different bloodlines with multiple tribes within these bloodlines. So like I said, while I'm reading this book, I don't agree with everything this book says, but if there's something I don't agree with, I'm going to stop and I'm going to give my 2 cents on what I don't agree with. Now, if you want information, or if you want a source to back up what I just said, that black people are Shemites, all you have to do is look up Zondervan's Study Bible and look up the Ham. And in Ham, it'll say Ham is the father of the dark races, except the Negro. Now, also, I will also say that there's information out there that a lot of people have said that, Ham, Shem, and Japheth were Negroes. So that's out there as well. But I can only tell you what I can verify myself. So let's go ahead and continue on. Ham represented black people, but his sons are spread throughout Africa and Asia, suggesting that the authors of Genesis were knowledgeable of a black belt stretching from Africa to perhaps India. These Hamites were thought to have fathered the black people of Arabia. One of Ham's sons, Cush, was associated with Ethiopia or Nubia. As the Greeks did with Ethiopia, the writers of the Bible associated Cush with a variety of places. As Henry Welsford noted in 1845, in the Old Testament, Cush appears sometimes to signify Persia, sometimes Mesopotamia, sometimes Arabia, and sometimes Ethiopia in Africa. In the English version, Cush is rendered by Ethiopia in every instance, though very different countries separated from each other by an immense distance are clearly intended to be spoken of. In Prehistoric Nations, Baldwin wrote that the Cushites were the authors of all modern civilization. In our research into the beginnings of culture in the oldest nations mentioned in history, we perceive that they did not originate civilization. It preceded their existence and came from an older people. They gave it in new forms, each developing an individuality of its own, but it came originally from abroad. On this point, tradition is uniform and explicit. In Eastern Africa, the civilizers proceeded from the south toward the Mediterranean, creating the countries in the valley of the Nile. The traditions of Inner Asia bring civilization from the south and connect its origin with the shores of the Erythraean Sea. Let me spell that for you. Erythraean Sea. meaning the Arabian shores of the Indian Ocean and the Persian Gulf. And these traditions are confirmed by inscriptions found in the old ruins of Chaldea. These inscriptions reveal also the fact that the first civilizers were neither Semites nor Aryans, but a third race, which ethnic and linguistic investigators have been slow to recognize. Now, I just read you a quote from Prehistoric Nations by Baldwin. So who was the mysterious race that authored the world's civilizations? As you noted at the beginning of this chapter, historians have called these people by many different names. Most of them were simply euphemisms or code words for black people outside of Africa and tell us nothing particularly helpful regarding the time and place these people moved throughout the world. To some extent, the anthropologists attempted to specify what Eurafricans, Melancholy, and Mediterranean people looked like, but none of it was written in stone. If there was a dark-skinned people who founded an ancient civilization, they somehow find their racial home in one of these categories. Again, just euphemisms for black people. Thus, anthropologists like Giuseppe Sergi could dedicate entire books to the Mediterranean race and their contributions to ancient Europe, Africa, and Near East. If everyone knew Sergi was talking about black people, which he was, he'd been in serious trouble, which is what eventually happened. Meanwhile, historians who drew on the Bible used classifications like Hamite and Cushite to identify the world's ancient black populations. This is why Baldwin, a student of biblical history, described these people as Cushites. As we continue digging into their history, we'll see that the people we should call Cushites weren't actually the first, but one of the last waves of black people to reintroduce civilization to the ancient world. So let's work backwards and see if we can trace these people back to their origins. The Cushite languages of Ethiopia and southern Arabia are members of an important and close-knit family known as the Afro-Asiatic language family. It's called Afro-Asiatic because it has branches in Africa and Asia, mostly in the Near East and Arabia. In order to understand who these people are, where they came from, and where they went from there, we have to familiarize ourselves with the meaning of Afro-Asiatic. All right, so the next chapter I want to read you guys, or the next part of this book I'm read you guys, is in regards to the Afro-Asiatic family. So that'll probably be tomorrow or maybe the day after that. I hope you guys really enjoyed what I just told you, or information I just gave you about the Cushite people, because I learned something today as well as reading this book. So I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy your day, man. Have a blessed day. Treat people nice, man. Treat people right, man. There's so much, negativity in the world. And I just wanted to add this to the content. There's so much negativity in the world, guys. So it will behoove us all to do our part and bring some positivity, some love, some grace, some forgiveness to everyone around you and those people who you come in contact with. All right. It's your favorite black guy from Nebraska. Yes, there's black people in Nebraska. I'm out.